Good morning to all of you on this crisp Minnesota morning. I got my coffee all warmed up. I was actually supposed to be on the road already this morning, meeting my first kiddo of the week before school. I'm a in-home family therapist, but a lot of times I pick up kids before school because it's the only time I can meet with them. Well, my kiddo messaged me and she's like, I just puked, and I'm thinking to myself, we'll cancel today. I don't want that in my car. So stay home and rest up, honey, right? But anyway, the last couple months, I have been kind of making some changes to my daily regimen. It's been kind of a few years coming. I have had a series of surgeries. In fact, 5 surgeries in 5 years. It's got to be some sort of record. Like for a person who doesn't have like a disease they were born with or something like that. I've had 2 surgeries on my right foot, an Achilles rupture on my left ankle, and then I had deviated septum, so they fixed my nose last February, and then they just fixed my shoulder in this last November. So my septum was the February before, so a year ago. Anyway, it's been a whole hot 5 years of kind of, let's fix Carrie's body, I guess. Although I didn't ask for the Achilles rupture. That was kind of strange. That's an interesting story, actually. I got to be some sort of a special person. I ruptured my Achilles while hula hooping. But I was hula hooping on my ankle because I swing the hula hoop and then jump over it with my foot. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a first. Anyways, my activity level has not been what I've been accustomed to. Obviously, when you have surgeries on your feet and your Achilles and all that kind of stuff, I was in a boot on crutches. Obviously, my nose probably took less time, but obviously breathing and stuff was an issue. But after a couple months, you're doing pretty good. My shoulder obviously has needed physical therapy and stuff, but hasn't affected my legs. Aside from the fact that I have to take everything easy and all that kind of stuff. But all this sitting around in between things or being on crutches or in a boot or whatever has kind of caused me to, not feel as healthy as I could or should or as I have in the past. So I felt fatigued, out of shape, just generally not well. It's been kind of tough that way. So it's kind of tough when you start to get healthy and then something else happens. So you kind of just get knocked down again. But this last February, I discovered that since my shoulder surgery and I had PT at the local hospital, they have a gym in there. I got a free month of gym because I was doing physical therapy there. So I thought, okay, let's do that. I got myself, I got in there and I was pretty proud of myself. I was going like 3 days a week. It was kind of like that jump start I needed. And I have been a gym rat for the past 20 years. I have exercised continuously pretty much without stopping. I've run thousands of miles. I've pumped a ton of iron. I've always been into fitness because I have an active lifestyle. I like to move and do things and hike. I like to hike up mountains. You don't do that if you're not in decent shape. But it's been getting harder. So I haven't been eating healthy or any of those types of things, just kind of snacking, doing my thing and sitting on the couch. So this past fall was kind of like the kicker for me. I normally go from outside walking and things like that back indoors. And we have not a full gym, but a decent enough weight equipment in the basement. I have a treadmill. We've got weights. We've got a Smith machine. My husband had that stuff long before I met him. He was into pumping iron and stuff. So it's older equipment, but it's all there. I have plenty of things I can do to exercise. I could not do it. I could not go from outside to inside. I told my husband, I just can't exercise indoors anymore. My mind was just not having it. So I tried, but nothing would make me do it. My mind just was not in that space. And of course, your mind kind of has the ideas, but your heart has to be in it as well. So after being an invalid for so long, and then my surgery this last November, we went to see my daughter in Colorado over Christmas and New Year's. And we did a bunch of hiking, but on a smaller scale, because obviously a fall would have been super costly to my recovery. I found out that they repair more surgeries from people falling after they've had a shoulder surgery than what actually goes wrong with during the shoulder surgery. That's So the joy of being outside while we were in Colorado, it was a really warm, unseasonably warm this last year there. And so getting outside just kind of like got my juices moving again. And so after the last 3 months, since I started doing the gym membership, and then I didn't keep it. I've been able to go back downstairs. I actually have been working out regularly. But I feel so much better. I'm less fluffy. And I've been like monitoring my food intake and eating healthier things and getting up regularly and doing all those things. But this is so much like what our walk with God is like. It's hard to keep motivation when we aren't like regularly plugging in, like the outlet, plugging in to God and His goodness. And our minds can only manage to keep up with so much. And then we're like, screw it, I'm done. Not having it. So have you ever seen people who try to keep walking with God, but it just never seems to stick? The people who, come back to church, a few times a year, every few months after they've fallen off the wagon again. But they keep falling into the same habits and same traps. And the freedom that they feel at times just kind of seems to come and go, like nothing really sticks. There was a quote that I was just reading in one of A.W. Tozer's books. It's called The Pursuit of God. But he said, the mind may approve while not having the consent of the will to put in the effort. The mind may approve, but if you don't have the consent of your will, you won't put in the effort. Your mind thinks something's a great idea. We're full of those, right? But your heart's not in it. Like my exercise routine, my mind knew I need to get up, move, go Carrie, come on. No, heart's not in it. So when you're thinking about following God, we can sometimes know in our minds before God kind of wins over our hearts. Our minds know what we need to do, but our God, He's always there, but we have to allow our hearts to be won over by Him. That's that surrender thing we all talk about, right? The whole man must make the decision before the heart can know any real satisfaction. God wants us all. That's always also by A.W. Tozer from that book. God doesn't want a sliver of you. He wants all of you. Just like if I only did a little bit of workout, but not very much, how much growth do you think I'm going to have? Not a whole lot. If your heart's not in it, your mind will not be able to keep you walking towards it. We actually I used to work in a treatment center for those who struggle with addictions. And we often talked about how strong people's minds are or are not. Because when you're struggling with an addiction, that's a hard one. That's a grip on yourself, on your whole soul there. But your mind is only so strong. Your mind can only keep you sober for so long before, like, if your heart's not in it, it's just going to kind of come and go, because your mind can only hold on with a tight fist for so long. No different one than our walk with God or with my exercise routine. If my heart's not in it, my mind is only going to hold me there for so long. So I think a lot of people who say, just give God a try. I'm not sure that actually works, because that's kind of like your mind saying, sure, I'll try it. But if your heart's not in it, how well do you think that's going to stick? So if your mind's not in it, you'll always be like considering other options or trying new things. Your body and your heart has not become locked into following Jesus because He's your lifeline and you have nothing else. He wants to be that lifeline for you. You have to follow Him with your whole heart. It's too easy to back out when things aren't going your way. You think, oh boy, things were tougher before, when I wasn't following God. Things were better. Why, if I follow God, things are harder. Why would I do this? But Jesus has earned our trust. He doesn't have to keep earning it. He went to a cross. If he didn't know what was best for us and didn't have our best interests in mind, I don't know why he would have done all that. He doesn't have to keep earning my trust. We don't need more evidence. A trip to the cross is all we need. So why can't I surrender to someone who has definitely earned my trust? In my case, I had to surrender my right to be lazy, eat what I want, do what I want, sit on the couch, instead of walking to my basement and picking up a weight. My mind could be saying, give it a try, Carrie, give it a try. But until my heart kind of said, no, get up. It wasn't going to happen. So without changing my habits, I wouldn't have seen any progress. I wouldn't have toned up, slimmed down. Our bodies are good at calling us out, because if you have a stashed bag of M&Ms or a package of Oreos in the cupboard, and you think, oh, I'm doing so well. People are looking at me, and I'm telling my husband or my kids, oh, this is what I'm doing. But behind closed doors, or after everybody goes to bed, I'm sneaking out the package of Oreos. Your progress is going to be evident, or lack thereof. Because if you keep eating all that stuff, you won't slim down. There won't be any evidence. So without changing my habits and being honest with myself, I will not see progress. When you are all in, you see results. Might not be as fast as you want, but when you're fully engaged and following through, you will see results. 1 Timothy says this, 4:8, for physical training is of some value, but godliness is valuable for all things, holding promises for both the present life and the life to come. Physical training is great, but godliness is even more valuable. Training for godliness. What kind of sport is that? I don't think that's in the Olympics. It might be the most difficult thing or work you ever do. There's a promise that good things will come to you, if not in this life, the next, right? 1 Corinthians 9:24-27. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way that you get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. Don't be random and aimless. It's kind of where I was. Commit to a plan. Beat your mind and your body into shape. God can help you do that. When you're following him, he can absolutely step in and be your inspiration. You have to be strict with yourself. No excuses, no whining. Surrender is always the key. We struggle with that word so much, but without admitting that without God, we will only be randomly successful. We'll kind of come and go with it. I think we have to just own that. And that's okay. You have to surrender. Without your heart in the right place, your mind will always wander off course. Our minds never want to stay where they're supposed to be. Without a constant intentional infusion of God and his word each day, we will always revert back, and our minds will always be struggling to hold ourselves on course. My heart has to be totally sold out. Galatians 6:9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Do not become weary. Don't give up. Do good for yourself and for others. You will get a prize at the end. I hesitate to say that because sometimes our prize isn't always here. Sometimes we work really, really hard and feel like we don't get anywhere, but I think God knows what he's doing, and the end is where you get the prize. The runner who runs the race and finishes gets the prize. So sometimes our prizes don't come here in the middle. We have to keep running the race, and then the end is when we get it. Godly training will make you insightful, more motivated, able to hear the quiet voice of God, engage His call on you in the here and now, keep you kind of inspired and purposeful. When I train my body, I feel so much better and I slim down. Have you noticed that what happens when you stop working out? I had 5 years of that. I can tell you that being 5 surgeries and feeling like an invalid off and on for 5 years, I got fluffy, out of shape, and I didn't feel well. I was limited in what I could do. So training your body and keeping with it, that's super important. Your spiritual walk will also be limited if you allow yourself to become lazy. So my encouragement is make one change this week. Whether it's 5 more minutes spent with God, a walk in the morning, leaving your music off as you do your morning run and just kind of like focusing in on the world around you and anything God's trying to speak to you that day, you know what it is. Maybe it's leaving the radio off when you drive in your car and spending some time talking with God. Do one thing this week. And then you know what? Next week, do another thing. You don't have to sprint, but you can make a steady progress. So you will notice you feel more vibrant the more things that you surrender with God. And you know what? He won't fail you. So that's my encouragement for the week.